Celebrities tend to date other celebrities. I don't know why. Maybe it's because other celebrities understand their lives. Maybe it's for each other's money. Or maybe it's just because they can. Whatever it is, NBA players are definitely celebrities themselves, and they like to get in on the celebrity dating game. Here are 10 NBA players who dated gorgeous celebrities. Amar'e Stoudemire. Amar'e Stoudemire is most famous for his role on the Phoenix Suns during the mid to late 2000s. Stoudemire and his Hall of Fame teammate Steve Nash never won an NBA championship, but Stoudemire did win the affection of a very famous singer, at least for a little while. This happened shortly after Stoudemire left Phoenix to go play for the Knicks in New York. It was in New York that Stoudemire met Ciara, a 5-time Grammy-winning singer. The two were first seen dining out at restaurants together. This obviously made rumors start up. The couple mostly kept the details of their relationship private, but things apparently blew up after Stoudemire was caught cheating. Ciara dumped Stoudemire immediately, and Stoudemire soon got back together with his ex-girlfriend, who is now his wife. As for Ciara, she simply moved on to another all-star athlete, Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson. Stoudemire played in the NBA until 2016, finishing his NBA career with the Miami Heat, but most people don't know he actually played professionally until 2020. Stoudemire traveled overseas after parting ways with the Heat in 2016. He played mostly in Israel, but he also played for a year in Fuji. Stoudemire is associated with a group called the Black Hebrew Israelites. This group believes that they are the descendants of the ancient Israelites. Once in an interview, Stoudemire was asked if he believed he was Jewish, and he said, "I think we all are." While in Israel, Stoudemire converted to Judaism and changed his name to Yehoshaphat ben Abraham. Today, he's an Israeli citizen. Chris Webber. Chris Webber is another all-star who never managed to win a championship. A lot of people think he and the Sacramento Kings were robbed by the league in 2002. They had the best record in the NBA, but lost in the Western Conference Finals. This series was highly controversial, and we covered it in other videos like worst ref calls ever. You may be familiar with that part of the Chris Webber story, and you might also be familiar with Chris Webber as a current announcer for the NBA. But what you may not know is that Webber once dated one of the most beautiful and famous women, maybe ever, the one and only Tyra Banks. Tyra Banks is the very definition of a supermodel. She started her career at 15 and was the first African-American woman to be featured on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit magazine. She's also had a pretty successful acting career, and she's ranked as one of the top 30 richest models in the world. Webber and Banks first got together in 2002. Like I said, that was the same year Webber was playing for the Kings in Sacramento and facing Los Angeles in the playoffs. This is a good recipe for bringing out lots of celebrities to the arena. That's probably how the two first met. Despite what you might think, this wasn't just a quick fling for the tabloids. Webber and Banks were together for a couple years, and rumors started to spread that they were even looking to get engaged, but for whatever reason, it never happened. They split up for good in 2004. J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith has managed to become a pretty famous name in basketball, and not all of it is for good stuff. He's the king of NBA blunders. He's also had some pretty weird run-ins with NBA regulations and been a controversial figure for most of his career. But despite all the attention JR has drawn to himself over the years, he's nowhere near as famous as a woman he once called his girlfriend for a short time, Rihanna. Now, I know I don't need to tell you who Rihanna is. It's also well known that the chart-topping singer likes to go to NBA games, where she always sits courtside, of course. See, Rihanna's the type of person where, everywhere she goes, she automatically gets moved to the front of the line. For example, in Game 1 of the 2015 NBA Finals, which was held at Oracle Arena in Oakland, Rihanna showed up, apparently to the surprise of everyone there, including Warriors owner Joe Lacob. Now remember, in 2015, the Warriors hadn't been to the finals since the Stone Age. As the owner, Lacob and his family were extremely excited to be sitting courtside together to watch the team he helped build make their finals debut on the world stage. But the second Rihanna showed up, what did he do? Get the out of here, kids. Go sit up in the nosebleeds. This is Rihanna's seat now. Yep, right this way, Rihanna. Here's a courtside seat at Game 1 of the finals for you, right next to the owner of the team. Being rich and famous definitely has its perks. But the joke was on Lacob. Turns out for some reason, Rihanna's a huge Cavs fan. She was screaming her head off rooting for LeBron the entire game. It was so much that apparently Lacob couldn't take it, and he actually got up and left. Rihanna's from Barbados and probably spends most of her time in California like most famous musicians. So why the hell was she rooting for the team from Cleveland? Well, I got a theory. Guess who started playing for the Cavs just months before their 2015 finals appearance? Yes sir, the one and only J.R. Smith. Somehow, someway, these two go a long, long way back. They first met when JR was playing on the Knicks. The pair were spotted out at some of New York City's hottest nightclubs, and people who were there described the situation as being extremely flirtatious. In fact, here's what one source reported after seeing them together in a club called Veranda. They were very flirty in the club all night and holding hands. She was sitting on his lap and really into him. He is the team's most controversial player, so it's no wonder that Rihanna likes him. Maybe the source says no wonder, but I don't agree. How in the world did crazy ass, I thought we was up ass J.R. Smith get Rihanna to sit on his lap in a nightclub? Beats me, but there you have it. Maybe that's why Rihanna was always showing up at Oracle to root against Golden State. It's unknown how or why their relationship ended, or even when. JR has never spoken about it, and neither has Rihanna. It's safe to assume that being who she is, she could probably just move on to a new boyfriend whenever she felt like it. Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes and actress Gloria Govan both grew up around the same time in the San Francisco Bay Area. According to People magazine, they first met when Govan was only 12 years old. If that's true, it's weird as hell. Barnes is about 5 years older than Govan, so he would have been 17. Still, years later in 2006, they became a couple. At that point, Barnes was about 26 and Govan was about 21, which is a lot less weird, but still weird considering how long they'd known each other. The relationship between the actress and the NBA star was extremely rocky and probably made both of them more famous, although not for good reasons. Barnes was arrested in 2010 on suspicion of domestic violence, but Govan later said that the charges weren't true. The couple did eventually split, and Govan got together with another NBA star and former teammate of Barnes, Derek Fisher. This was a strong recipe for years of public drama. Fisher and Barnes had beef on social media, in person, in the mall, on the street, on TV, everywhere. It eventually got so bad that Barnes came to Fisher's house and had a physical altercation after he found out his kids were there. Fisher and Govan got engaged in 2018, and things eventually started to cool down. Barnes responded to the news by making an Instagram post he later deleted. It said, "You guys want this to be an issue. It's not. I've known about this for a few weeks, and I'm all for it. My kids matter to me at this point, that's it." Quentin Richardson. Quentin Richardson was a first-round pick in the 2000 NBA draft. His name may not be as familiar to fans now as it used to be, but back in the day, the man was a pretty legit star. He won a three-point contest in 2005. He also played for the Phoenix Suns during the Steve Nash era, leading the team in three-pointers. It was also around that time that Quentin Richardson got together with one of the most famous singers in Hollywood, a singer known for dating basketball stars, Brandy. I don't know about you, but the first time I even heard of Brandy was when she went with Kobe Bryant to his high school prom. She's definitely got a type. Who knows what happened between her and Bryant back in the 90s, but in 2004, she and Quentin Richardson were actually engaged. Brandy even got a tattoo of Richardson's face on her back. Turns out, that was a bad idea. The couple called off their engagement in 2005, and Brandy had the tattoo covered up. Baron Davis. Remember Baron Davis? There was a time when he was the biggest star in Bay Area basketball. It feels like a long time ago now, but it's true. Being the Warrior star player meant Baron Davis got all kinds of attention from the ladies, and believe it or not, one of them happened to be associated with the hit movie franchise, The Fast and the Furious. The Fast and the Furious movies were super famous, and alongside Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, one of the trilogy's biggest stars was, and still is, Jordana Brewster. Now, you might think I'm going to tell you Baron Davis dated Jordana Brewster. That would have been awesome, but in truth, he sort of almost did. Davis actually ended up getting married to Isabella Brewster, Jordana's younger sister. The couple even had 2 kids together. Although Davis was in a relationship with the younger sister, it still meant he became part of the Brewster family, which is honestly kind of fitting since the Fast and the Furious movies are usually about family and who's in or who's out. Davis was in, but sadly, it didn't last too long. In 2017, he and Brewster filed for divorce after 4 years of marriage. The two are reportedly on good terms with each other, and since they have 2 kids, I'd imagine Davis is still part of the family in a meaningful sense. Marko Jaric. Unlike most of the players on this list, you might not even know who the hell Marko Jaric is. And even if you're a diehard basketball fan, you could be forgiven for that. His career was short and uneventful. Jaric was picked 30th overall in 2000, the same draft as Quentin Richardson. He first played for the Clippers, who were lousy. Jaric didn't make much of an impact there, so he decided, you know what, I think I need to go even lousier. Jaric bought himself a one-way ticket straight to Minnesota, where the even lousier Timberwolves were setting NBA records for losing. Jaric also made no real impact in Minnesota. He ended up finishing his NBA career in Memphis, the 3rd straight lousy team in a row, and left to play in the EuroLeague in 2009. Yet somehow, that same year, this guy, out of all NBA players in the world, did the unthinkable. He married a Brazilian Victoria's Secret supermodel, and not just any Brazilian Victoria's Secret supermodel, the most famous Brazilian Victoria's Secret supermodel on the planet Earth, Adriana Lima. Don't ask me, I don't know how they met or how this totally mediocre NBA player was able to put the moves on such a famously hot woman, but he did. They even had 2 daughters together. Jaric was kind of like a legend after this. It's probably the most successful thing he did in his career. Sadly, the couple split up in 2016. As far as we know, neither one has remarried since, crazily enough. Blake Griffin. A lot of guys dream of dating a bikini model, but Blake Griffin went for an even bigger dream. Date a woman who makes bikinis for a living. As luck would have it, that's exactly what he's been doing. Francesca Aiello is the founder and owner of Frankie's Bikinis, a high-end women's swimsuit brand. Aiello founded the company in Malibu in 2012 and became the youngest person to ever debut her designs at something called Miami Swim Week, an event I wish somebody had told me about earlier. Griffin and Aiello first started dating when he was on the Clippers. Makes sense, being in LA together and whatnot, They split up briefly, but recently they've been spotted together again. Maybe this time they'll stay together for good. Zion Williamson. The Kardashians are very annoying. Many people have even suggested they ought to be killed, including the guitarist from Slayer. But one group of people who don't seem all that annoyed by the Kardashians are guys who played in the NBA. Kendall Jenner has dated numerous NBA players, including Ben Simmons and Devin Booker. Meanwhile, her younger sister Kylie has tended to date rappers like Travis Scott and Tyga. She's definitely been seen on the sidelines of NBA games, and many people are wondering how long until she starts going out with an NBA star herself. One prime candidate might be Zion Williamson. Williamson and Jenner are pretty close in age, and Williamson is newly single after breaking up with his high school girlfriend. Williamson is also one of the most talented young stars in the game today. Jenner wouldn't be the first in her family to date an NBA star, and my guess is she probably wouldn't be the last either.